which to me, Steph, this old RICO prosecutor, looks a lot like a criminal enterprise being run out of the Oval Office.
Yeah.
It just has that feel to it.
I mean, this, again, headline judges fear for their safety amid rise in MAGA threats. I mean, here we are. This is where we live. Trump's angry call for the impeachment of this judge has set off a string of near instant social media taunts and threats, including images of judges being marched off in handcuffs. 9 days earlier, police officers in Charleston, South Carolina, had been snatched to the home of Amy Coney Barrett's sister because of a threat there was a pipe bomb in her mailbox. Right? Because she's ruled a couple of times, and by the way, Supreme Court justices are not elected either, right? But I mean, this is the environment we're in.
And we allow Donald Trump to say and post things that we know will result in threats. And, thus far, neither the Department of Justice nor any member of Congress seems to be willing to stand up and say, you know what, we've had enough.
Yeah, he took to social media yesterday to further air his grievances about radical left judges and anyone who imposes barriers to his mass deportations plans. He said judges he disagrees with could very well lead to the destruction of our country. He said these judges want to assume the powers of the president without having to attain 80 million votes. Well, you didn't get 80 million votes either, but okay. And then he went after Roberts. He said if Justice Roberts and the Supreme Court don't fix this toxic and unprecedented situation immediately, our country's in very serious trouble. What does he want John Roberts to do? Impeach any judge that rules against him? And that's not even in Judge Roberts' purview, is it?
It's not. No, the judiciary does not impeach itself. So what he wants Roberts to do is lay down and rule Donald Trump's way in every and any case that bubbles its way up to the Supreme Court. But you know what? Roberts and Coney Barrett crossed over and joined the three other justices who are all loyal to the rule of law and the Constitution and ruled against Donald Trump in the last case that they took up a couple of weeks ago. So I suspect that, Roberts will continue to do that. And if Trump thinks he can threaten Roberts into ruling his way, I think that's probably a miscalculation.
Yeah, let's hope so. So let's review. So Trump raged at Judge Boasberg and others over the blizzard of injunctions and rulings his administration has faced. Beryl Howell ruled against Trump in the case about stripping security clearances. Judge William Alsup ordered Trump to reinstate fired probationary federal employees. Trump called for Boasberg's impeachment, as we just talked about, after the ruling about the deporting migrants. These orders among nearly 50 adverse rulings against Trump's agenda so far, including at least 15 injunctions. I love that Carolyn Levitt talked about how many of these he's gotten. Oh, these it's so unfair. He's the only president that's broken the law this consistently and this blistering a pace. That's not saying anything to go, he's had X number of whatevers, right?
Yeah, if you break the law or sign unconstitutional executive orders 50 times, then 50 judges ought to smack you down. That's kind of the way the rule of law works. And it's going to keep happening because the other thing is the lawyers that are going into court and bringing these suits are running circles around Donald Trump's DOJ flunky lawyers. So, there's going to be more Trump losses, more Trump railing against the judges who are simply applying the law as it was intended to be applied. And the danger will continue to be ratcheted up by Donald Trump.
Yeah. So, Lord, which one next? Okay. Trump signs executive order to dismantle the education department. Again, as we said, NAACP president, only Congress can establish or abolish an executive agency. So it always feels, Glenn, to me like they're trying to be too cute by half. It's like, oh, okay, well, it'll be a mini just reduce it.
Shrink it down so you can strangle it in the bathtub.
Right.
Yeah, but what happened when Elon Musk tried to do that by firing all the probationary employees? The new reporting is that 25,000 probationary employees are now being hired back, restored to their public service jobs because their firings were illegal. And here's the thing, Steph. If anybody thinks Elon Musk and his Doge boys are saving the government or saving the taxpayers' money, let's look at what will result from the rehiring of these 25,000 employees who were wrongfully fired. They sat at home for a month and they did no work. Half of the American people, they're now being hired back and will receive back pay. So what did Elon Musk succeed in doing? Squandering millions and millions of taxpayer dollars. You want to make government more efficient? Fire Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, here's another one. Department of Government Efficiency's approach to identifying fraud at the Social Security Administration is, quote, tantamount to hitting a fly with a sledgehammer, a federal judge said yesterday, blocking DOJ's unlimited access to sensitive agency data. This is Judge Ellen Lipton Hollander. Wrote, the Trump administration never justified the need to access the data, which they argued was vital to identify fraud. They likely violated multiple federal laws in doing so. She said the DOJ team is essentially engaged in a fishing expedition at SSA in search of a fraud epidemic based on little more than suspicion. It has launched a search for the proverbial needle in the haystack without any concrete knowledge that the needle is actually in the haystack. So this order blocks them from having access to systems containing personally identifiable information, orders them to destroy any data in their possession. Once again, Glenn, my question is about enforcement. Do we know this is being enforced? Do we know they're complying?
We don't know because there are no police kind of monitoring this. The Department of Justice is, comatose at best and corrupt at worst. They would be the ones who would be responsible, certainly for investigating any potential violations of the law. But we know they're not going to do that because they're, under the thumb of Donald Trump. The inspectors general, many of them have been fired. Those are our basically internal police officers, the watchdogs who are supposed to be looking out for fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption. So we don't know. All we will have to wait for are people who report from inside. Elon Musk just compromised our personal identifying information. That will be brought to the attention of the court. Then we're back in court talking about possible contempt charges.
Yeah. This was interesting. The judge also pointed out the irony that DOJ has accessed the sensitive information of millions of Americans while the identities of the DOJ employees working in the SSA have been concealed for privacy reasons. I mean, the hypocrisy is just astounding. But again, I feel like the one thing I take heart from, Glenn, this sound we're playing from town halls, people seem to get what's happening. And they are not, you even say Elon Musk's name or Doge, and you get even in ruby red districts, you get booed out of the room, right?
Yeah, I think they are alienating so many different people and populations and organizations. Indeed, they're galvanizing world opinion against the United States. And I've said this for many weeks now, Steph, I don't think this is sustainable. Donald Trump is not trying to govern. He's trying to rule because he knows he's too weak to govern, right? Yeah. He knows the razor thin majorities the Republicans have in the House and Senate. They're not going to be able to push through anything. So he's trying to do it all by executive action, fiat, and he's signing unlawful and unconstitutional executive order one after another, which to me, Steph, this old RICO prosecutor, looks a lot like a criminal enterprise being run out of the Oval Office. Yeah. It just has that feel to it.
Well, most people know that staying hydrated is essential to nearly every bodily function, right? But 75% of Americans do not consume enough fluid daily. As we age, naturally bodily changes make staying hydrated even harder, especially without artificial additives or excess sugars. That's where Native Path comes in with extra help. Native Path's Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It is a thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help with muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free and 100% natural. It goes in my bike bottle every single Saturday. With their Native Path Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams of sodium. That's optimal for daily hydration, free of artificial flavors, sugars, and dyes. It is only count 'em, 5 calories per serving, and every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com/Stephanie to see what Native Hydrate could do for your health. I love it. Drink up. That's nativehydrate.com/Stephanie.